Destiny 2. It's just Warframe for people who prefer Halo, with a wealth of cut content that really helps keep the narrative cohesion to a minimum for when story and your income gets in the way of spacey shooty bang bang. Welcome to the Worst Review, a series where I play an MMO for the first time, using my short attention span and lack of reviewing skills to see how your favourite MMO stacks up to the rest. I'm Dying Legacy, and this is Destiny 2. What is Destiny 2? To keep it short, unlike the lore, it's a cooperative looter shooter. So let's make a character. I'll make a warlock, and using my vast interest in fantasy settings, I'll make a human that looks slightly similar to myself. Once made, we're treated to a cutscene, something to do with us landing on Mars equipped with assault rifles. We get a large lore dump on a sentient planet called the Traveller that hands out superpowers like a discount alleyway Jesus. Quickly, other spacefaring races wanted all of our crap and all hell broke loose. And our nemesis, the Witness, a visual interpretation of Bungie's monetization practices blended in the style of Pixar, who wants nothing more than to be reunited with discount alleyway Jesus because they're in love or something or other, caused havoc across the world, and now humanity only has one city left. We, a Guardian, wake up in what I assume is modern day Russia and are greeted by robotic Nolan North, and are immediately told we've been dead for a long time and he needs to get me to the city. So I get a move on and get informed I need a ship and a weapon. Once I get my first weapon, everything turns tense and I start checking my corners. But the enemy's smart. They use gamer logic to pop out of the walls, so the game quickly enters tutorial mode, which I mindlessly do the motions through, and get introduced to the Warlock super ability. An energy blast ripped straight from Dragon Ball Z that makes my man parts giddy. I eventually exit the indoor tutorial and emerge outside, to people. Social activity! Like any good MMO player, I pretend the players are NPCs and go about my business. This immediately introduces me to my first story character, Iron Man's less successful cousin, Lead Boy, and then I realise I have a voice. Am I Josh Brolin? Once the exposition is done, I'm told to open a weapon chest as it's probably an upgrade for me. I can't fault Lead Boy's logic. I am brand new and only been playing for 20 minutes. I'd appreciate an upgrade. This is the part where I realise this area is an open world, so I take note of how I'm going to procrastinate. After procrastination, I find out we have combat vehicles, and procrastinate some more. At this point, I realise the combat is a very good crossover between Call of Duty and Halo. And I realise I've been explaining how good the enemy's mothers are in bed. So, I continue with the story. I've been instructed to save someone called May, so of course the strong story narrative drives me towards her rescue. Only to see her get murdered by an undead space wizard, and then my ghost becomes heavily depressed for the character we never met, knew, or had any form of connection with. From out of nowhere I'm told about fast travel, and for some reason, I'm in a small square room where there's no escape, because fast travel. Right, okay then. Using the forced upon fast travel, I reunite with Lead Boy. We console his loss. I realise his facial animations look as if he's got peanut butter stuck to the roof of his mouth, get more exposition, get a reward, and have to read the rest of my quest. Okay. Could we not have done this through the dialogue? I see there's a bounty system and take everything, and as I go about my business, I notice a patrol mission. Just as I accept,
Guardian to keep the frontier clear of threats to the city. Give them hell.
And from what I can assume was some distant deity, I feel the luscious vibrations of sound that is the voice of Lance Riddick. May he rest in peace. I feel my downstairs mix-up twitch once again, and I devote my time and energy to doing anything and everything this man says. I end up dying in the process, and learn death is non-consequential, and continue on. Do some public events, gather loot, do some weird dream sequence that redoes the entire tutorial in a different setting. I'm not kidding about that either. It made me do the tutorial twice. It just changed the location. I return back to Lead Boy and decide to look at my character menu. I equip some new, better gear, feel the looter-shooter addiction start to take hold, and get to doing whatever Lead Boy wanted me to do, so I go see the city I've been promised. Which leads me to procrastinating again. Along the way, I realise they reintroduced Halo's energy sword in the form of a time pickup, relive the glory days, and get back to it and search for this superconductor Lead Boy keeps talking about. And for the third time of my playthrough, enter the same building to do story things. because for some reason we couldn't just do it all the first time. My reward is my own hover bike, so I'll let that slide. We find out Leadboy has gone to do his own thing without us, so we decide to go save him. Like a discount Avenger side piece, he didn't want us to follow him in case we got hurt, so he left a bread trail. Genius. So we fight our way to him, save him, get told he's going to write a raving review about our services, and that we should go meet Zavala in the last city of Earth. He even gives us a ship, so we head to the last city without any detours. When we arrive, we register a ship and get processed through security, because the one thing I love about video games is reliving the mediocrity of society of our reality through said video game. Once through, we meet Zavala, and I quickly realise that the voice I heard earlier of Lance Riddick is in fact Zavala. And as the blood flows from my head to my second brain, I mindlessly do everything he asks and introduce myself to all the NPCs of this player hub. Along the way, I discover each class has subclasses, which appears to be the basis of Destiny 2's character build system. I'm currently using the Void subclass, but I do spot there's a fire-based solar subclass, so now that's all I can think about. I head back to Zavala and gaze out over the city before letting him know I met everyone, but can't remember their names. I decide the sensual vocal tones of Lance Riddick are the best place to end this and begin writing a review. However, when I stop recording, I get a strong itch to play again, and I start looking at beginner guides to see what the game actually has and what I'm supposed to do. At this moment, my partner, Miss Rainmaker, catches a small glimpse of my monitor and explains she's played a lot of Destiny 1 and a little bit of 2. So, why not let her show me the ropes? I excitedly say yes to this proposition and let her take the wheel. So she takes me on a strike mission. Lance Riddick also suggested that I do this, so I've no intention of saying no to either party. I quickly discover player collision and decide to take revenge for having to do the dishes by running her down. We continue the mission together, laughing, conversing and mowing down as many enemies as possible, as any gamer couple should. At this point, I have begun to realise that Destiny 2's strengths lie in the co-op aspect, which is great timing for a third Guardian to join, who remains silent as Rainmaker and I continue blurting out every innuendo we can think of. This all culminates in a boss fight with the undead space wizard that killed the Guardian from an earlier mission whose name I can't remember, but I do remember it made Leadboy sad. It's a grueling firefight with hordes of minions that took a good 10 minutes of my time until the undead space wizard decided to be re-dead. Leadboy thanks us and I get introduced to the commendation system. I award our silent Guardian friend the fun to play with commendation, and I get the joy of a cutscene that introduces me to story that doesn't quite carry on from where I was. Ah yes, cut content. I ignore the info dump and beg for more couple murder time. We decide to grab our next quests from Lance Riddick, and I get a pop-up to buy an expansion. Nice! I'll stay free to play for the moment, thanks. I discover I can now earn the solar subclass, so I grab that quest. We decide to continue our story jaunt, but suddenly get hit by another cutscene. It ruins the entire story, and suddenly we're a part of a giant space battle, and Bungie's interpretation of monetization is invading. And is ignoring the idea of consent as the entity peers into the memories of space alleyway Jesus. Suddenly we're on a mission to protect someone named Osiris, so we run and gun through spaceships, beat a big bad, and we load ourselves into escape pods. We then suddenly find ourselves in Cyberpunk 2077, and we are to protect the Veil and save Osiris. We murder our way through the city and suddenly become an amalgamation between Green Lantern and Spider-Man, which we use to our advantage and murder some more. We eventually get tired from our newfound space powers and have to be saved by Asgard's fleet of Silver Surfers. Once they're done, we're told we need the Lightfall expansion to do anything else. Incredible. So we decide to do Vanguard ops missions instead. We get a squad going and begin to murder our way through a devastated Mars cityscape, play some defense-style objectives, break into the futurescape, whatever that is, followed by a time survival objective so we can break into a vault. So far, the PvE objectives appear to be varied. I'm a fan of this. I have a rough time as I'm mowed down again and again, but my partner strains her back carrying me, and we arrive at the boss fight. Darkblade Kelgorath risen from bones. I die a lot more, but through teamwork and a hell of a lot of revives, we win. I get a lot of loot, feel very achieved and aptly rewarded, so we leave it at that. I stop recording again, but of course an addiction has set in. I returned to make a hunter, streamed the entire process and took unwilling volunteers into PvP. I was told not to do Gambit, so I enlisted the help of a not-so-eager Twitch viewer and did Gambit. I was then told this was the only fun mode in PvP, so I then decided to try the game mode Scorch. It went about as well as expected. It was Halo with PvE aspects, so every death felt like a personal insult, to which I just could not pull myself away from, and has now led us to this moment. I award Destiny 2's gunplay and combat the Lance Riddick Commendation of Excellence. I do, however, award the story the commendation of Deleted. And the PvP gets the commendation of I've relations with your parental figure. Thanks for watching. If you like the content and want to help make this series a thing, like and subscribe, comment below with your experiences of Destiny 2, and follow me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/dyinglegacy to join me on the MMO adventures to come, and so I can drag you through content that you're not too fond of for my own amusement. Take care of yourselves, everyone, and keep being awesome.